I'm just gonna save it for if I suddenly become unemployed and need to squeeze a stone for every ounce of blood that's in it.
My friend also said that. He was like, that's an unemployment game. And I'm like, I like that you guys are in your head are like, that's for unemployment. That's for when I lose my job or I leave because I'm sick of working. I'm like, that's the spirit. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan. Joining me, as always, are my good friends, Hunter and Kyle. Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Dude, it's podcast o'clock.
I'm doing just
It is
swell.
podcast o'clock. I love that, because, most of the time, I feel like the problem with me being a host is, because I've been listening to some other podcasts recently, because I've been off, and I've been back to work, and you know what? This 4-day week seems like it's dragged, so I've just been listening to a load of podcasts to try and take my mind off of being back at work and the depression that comes with that. And I was like, listening to people, and I'm like, I know we've done this for nearly 3 years, right? I feel like we all know each other a bit too well, especially when it comes to our on-screen kind of personalities. And I've realized that I should not be in the position that I'm in. I should be down there, or I should be I'm like the jester, right? I'm the stupid fucker. Why am I in charge? Because I feel like Hunter's Hunter plays too many games, right? So I feel like Kyle is should be the person that's here, who's like, hey guys, how you doing? And then I just say something stupid every week because that's what my job is. I'm just a clown. I just feel like I'm in the wrong profession here. But then also,
I think you're only in that seat because this was your idea.
Because it's mine, and I also have to. I'm too much of a control freak. I'm like, no,
yeah,
this is
you're a
mine.
narcissist.
I'm not a narcissist. That implies I like this. I wouldn't listen to this.
I'm also too, I don't know, chaotic, non-structured, whatever, to be the host. I would just go off on whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like starting I don't know, whenever. I feel like a couple of weeks if I'm not feeling great, or if it's it's a big week, I feel like just chucking Kyle in and then me just going all in. If I'm just gonna amp up on numbers and caffeine and just go ham. I feel like do what Jack did to the podcast 9 months ago, just make an episode that's just not airable.
Oh, yeah. That's what we did with the P5 Royal Spoiler Cast.
And I had a blast.
You put me in charge. And I said, here's Ethan, here's Jacob. I'm gonna head out for 2 hours. See you guys later.
Well, I don't mean it like that. I don't mean get out, Kyle. I basically want more screen time by not being in charge. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is I feel like if it's ever a week where it's I've played the video game and only me, I feel hey, maybe one of you two should host, so then I can just sit here and splurge utter nonsense, and then you can try and control me instead of me trying to control myself. Because we all know I can't do that. We all know that at the end of the day, I'm going to say something that I probably will just think is utter nonsense in 24 hours, because, hey, that's usually how it goes. And I just forget it
an hour and a half
later.
late to starting this recording, yeah.
Yeah, but that's
I
partially not my fault.
usually don't go more than 2 hours before I say something that I think is utter nonsense, and the realization hits me 2 minutes after I say it.
You see, I just think that's also my problem is I feel just sometimes the filter lifts. I try so hard. The first hour of the podcast, I'm I try and strap in. I'm gonna keep the reins tight, and then I just lose my grip. And by the second half of this podcast, I'm just all over the shop. I've either disengaged, where it's you two have talked about Devil May Cry for too long, so Ethan's somewhere else in a different realm, or I'm just gone crazy because I'm it's time. The caffeine has kicked in late. It's 3 a.m. Let's do this. I don't know. It's all fun. I don't know what this is. This is the biggest kind of. We're already off on a tangent before we've even started. We've gone down a different street.
In case you haven't gathered, we don't
it's
have
the first
a topic
one back
this
from
week.
Vacation, man. It
is
fine.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel I don't know. I've got less sleep, which makes me more excited. I don't know what that is. Is it because of the caffeine? Is it because there's more caffeine in my veins this week? Maybe. I don't know. But hey, we're here, and it's good to be back. We've not really had much of a break. I feel it just feels like business as usual. But we hope you guys have had a good holidays, had a good New Year. Hope that going back to work, going back to whatever it is you do, hasn't beaten you down too much. Gosh, I'm already ready for a break, and it's only been 4 days. Hey. But we're back, and like Kyle said, we don't really have a topic. We're here to talk about backlog. So if you came here for Witcher 3, congratulations. That's probably going to be like a 7 for this podcast. So hey, you've got. It's the YouTube algorithm. I can't put 7 games in the title because like YouTube's like, no one's gonna watch that. So it's like, hey, you come here for Witcher. I do have a lot to say about The Witcher, but mainly it's also going to be these two, because while I was an idiot and I chose an 80-hour RPG, these two chose games that are actually like finishable in a reasonable amount of time. So they got through some stuff. So it's all cool.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. But yeah, if you're new here, welcome to the show. I guess we talk about games. I don't know really. Like I could happily
most
just talk
episodes
about...
are like this.
And we can talk about anything else. I feel like sometimes I feel like we're in a different space right now. We're in a different plane. I feel like most of the time I try and keep it like on the rails to the topic. I'm just like, I don't give a shit, right? We're talking about The Witcher at some point. We're talking about Kyle getting a UFO finally. We're talking about Hunter playing some shit that 5 of you have heard of and are really going to enjoy that section. But you know,
I'll have you know that the reviews I make where the audience is the 5 people are like the best performing reviews we've got.
And I love you for it. I love you all the more for it, Hunter. But hey, we're going to talk about so much.
That's not much of a sample size to compare to, Hunter.
It isn't much of a sample size.
No, but like I'm just saying like it's goofy that like
no, it's
our best
great.
performing review is Returnal, which was a PlayStation exclusive, and then the second best is Arcadia Fallen.
I feel like we're gonna have a great year this year. I think 2023 is gonna be great. You're gonna be on it with the reviews.
This is our year.
I'm gonna make it's our year, guys. I'm gonna make it our year. You're gonna get on it with the reviews. I'm then gonna turn those reviews into awful TikToks. I'm just gonna be sitting there dabbing and doing whatever the Fortnite dances to get whatever we have to do to get the youth of today invested in the HGO brand. And then Kyle is gonna play video games so he can contribute to this podcast. It's gonna be a great year. I feel like
this is true.
It's gonna be a good one. So stay
My
tuned.
plan for this year is to try and play more current releases.
And I
tried to get better at that throughout last year. And a lot of the stuff in the early half of this year looks really interesting.
Well, I feel for you, this is a good year for you to try that, because I feel like there's stuff actually that you're interested in that's coming out that is new. There's plenty of JRPGs, there's sequels to games that you're really interested in, there's new entries and franchises you're invested in. I feel like it's a good year for Kyle to get on that. And, you know, Hunter's going to do it anyway. Yeah. I'm going to show up at some point. I might buy
Ethan might get a VR by the end of February.
We're not talking about that. We're just one day I'm just going to show up with the goggles on my face.
About that.
Yeah. Me and Mark Zuckerberg are going to be the only 2 people in the metaverse, and I'm going to want out of there real quick. But, you know, it's all good. So, this week, we're talking about Witcher 3, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Max Payne 1 and 2, Pokemon Violet, Carrion, Valkyrie Elysium versus Valkyrie Profile, whatever the fuck that means, and Castlevania Lords of Shadow. We've got so much to talk about. So strap in. I do promise you, that sounds like a lot, but I can guarantee it's going to be a bunch of probably smaller sections this week. Timestamps below, if you do want to skip to particular ones.
Smorgasbord.
A hodgepodge.
It's funny that you said smorgasbord, because in the pub quiz I went to the other day, smorgasbord was a question. It was like, where's that come from? And obviously, everyone knows it's Sweden, right? But my friend said Germany, and I was like, wow, that's just like,
Germany.
Yeah, I'm just like, wow, that's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Anyway, just a fun fact. Anyway, what are we talking about first? Witcher? Is that what
fun fact? My friend's an idiot.
I just don't want to talk about Witcher. I just don't want to talk about it. We're 9 minutes in. Should I just talk about Witcher already? Should I just get it over with? Rip the band-aid?
Just say it. It's okay, I guess.
Let's see how much longer you can stall. I've got all night.
No, I can go all night, but the thing is, I know our viewer retention has already hit the fucking curb. There's only so many people that can take hyped up Ethan, and it's about 30, so it's like we've already reached our peak here. So it's going to be fun. But no, I have played the entirety of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I went from not playing, like, putting it off for 6 years to playing it all in the span of, like, 3.5 weeks. And I mean all of it. I finished the base game on New Year's Eve, and I just, as of today, finished both expansions. I finished Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. So I've played it all. I have done, and I didn't skimp on it either, Hunter. I did my best. I did all the contracts. I did all the side quests I could find. Except for the DLC ones. By that point, I was fucking done with the game. But, I'd like to say, I put 85 hours into it. I'd like to say I've probably done around 80% of the content, and 100% of the content that mattered is what I'd like to say. And someone's going to cry because the side quests and the DLC are good. I don't care. I've had enough of the game at that point. Leave me alone. So I played the next gen version. I played it on Xbox. I know, treachery on this podcast. I'm sorry. My UFO will be used for something else. So I played it on Xbox because I didn't want to even think about trophies. I'm like, this game's long enough. Just fucking turn the achievements off. We'll just go for a ride. And I'll give you a bit of background. I'll give the people background because I know to some people this is their favorite game of all time. I know to some people, a lot of people, it's one of the best games ever made. And I agree to a certain extent. It's a very good game. I'm not a fantasy person at all. I don't like fantasy for the most part. My parents tried to bring me up on Lord of the Rings. We used to watch Lord of the Rings all the time when I was a kid. Those films are so fucking long that my attention span just couldn't handle it. So I just kind of assume, like, fantasy always goes back to my doesn't work with my attention span, just don't kind of get it. I completely missed the Game of Thrones hype. I completely avoided it. And I was like,
you know what? You're better for it.
And I was like, yeah, I was. But I was like, I was going to get into it. I was like, I'll just wait for the final season to come out because the final season's coming out. And then I'll watch it all. And then the final season was god awful. And everyone was like, it's really bad. So I'm like, guess I'm not watching Game of Thrones. So I missed all of that too. So fantasy has never been my kind of thing because I'm not really the kind of, I don't know if you can tell, guys, I'm not really the manly man slays the demons and gets the girl kind of guy. I'm just not that kind of person. It's just not my kind of cup of tea. So I was kind of hesitant going into this game. And I'll tell you what, fair play, I can see why people love it because it's a brilliant game. It's absolutely fantastic. It's great. Are there things I hate about this video game? Yes, there's a absolute list of things that I hate about this game. But I kind of want to talk about everything that I like about the game because I feel like that's more important for one, and two, we'll get the nitpicks out at the end. I just want to talk about the good stuff. So what's the good stuff? Basically, the middle of the game is absolutely amazing. I absolutely adore it. There's basically the way the start of the game is split up is the main point of the game is split up into 3 sections, basically. You've got Velen, which is like the poor area with the swamps and the boring. There's Novigrad, which is the city that has the kind of, it's like, it has all sorts, it has all the magic to it. It has the big city kind of vibes. It has the good characters in it. And also the central plot around it is about witch trials and people dying for being witches and mages. And it's got all this kind of, these kind of side plots of conspiracies and, kind of all those kinds of, like, it's really good. That bit, my favorite part of the game. There's then Skellige, which is the witch's equivalent to Scotland and Northern Ireland, just fucked off as an island. That shit's great. I fucking love it. It's really good. That's the kind of fantasy I do like, is when they go all Scottish and Irish on us, and it's like clan wars and all that stuff. That shit's cool. It's basically Vikings. Yeah. I love it. It's good. That stuff's good. And then the second act and third act, I think it just kind of fizzles, where it's like you kind of complete your objective, and then the game just carries on, and I'm like, okay, we can cut some of this out. Guys, come on.
Oh, it's the JRPG
Kind of. And you know what I'm like? It's like, Persona 5 is a long-ass fucking game, but I adored every moment of it because that's the kind of game I'm in. And I'm sure if you're like a true fantasy fan, you're going to love it. And I can see why it's your favourite game ever because it doesn't fucking end. And it's great. But to me, there's bits where it kind of wears thin. And I'm like, okay, can we get to the point here? Because I'm like, we've done our task, we've done our goal, why are we still going around? Can we wrap this up a bit? In terms of gameplay, it's one of those RPGs where I can see where Assassin's Creed got this from. Assassin's Creed is basically, the new Assassin's Creed is very much a rip-off of this game, where it's kind of, armor has numbers, and weapons have numbers, and you've got menus and crafting, but at the end of the day, all it is I have sword, wacky, 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 square, 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 circle, square, square. It's like,
number get bigger, but I do same.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, I think it's better than...
Gotham Knights do that too.
Yeah, it's better than any other game that I've played that does it. I'll say that. I think it works, but it just does nothing for me. Like, when people are like, this is a Western RPG, and I'm like, basically what you're saying to me is Western RPGs are just open world games with skill trees. That's what you're saying to me. That is what, and open world games have skill trees. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, like Western RPG is such a weird and nebulous term. Like I don't even know what to assign it to if it's not like a Bethesda. Or,
yeah, because I mean, I think we can all agree what a
BioWare
JRPG
game.
is. Like, is it anime as fuck? Yes. Okay, there we go. We've got that. There you go. There's your category, right? Perfect. We got it, boys. But yeah. It's just the combat is fine, but the real thing is the story. I think the story is fantastic in this game. Basically, you don't have to play the previous games or read the books to play it. I think it's a perfectly serviceable story on its own. But the plot
I sure
is...
hope so, because most people probably jumped in.
Oh, they definitely did. But Geralt, if you don't know what the story of The Witcher is, Geralt basically has a surrogate daughter, an adopted daughter called Ciri, who disappeared a long time ago. And basically
looks
he comes
shockingly similar to him, despite not
being
being
related in the
biologically related to him.
And eventually rumor gets to him that Ciri has returned because Ciri has... She's basically... You know how it's like Ellie is kind of the item in The Last of Us where everyone wants Ellie. Everyone's trying to get to Ellie. It doesn't matter if you're a Firefly, if you are like, you know, whatever you are, everyone's after Ellie. She's like the kind of... The world kind of revolves around Ellie in the world of The Last of Us, really.
The living
right?
MacGuffin.
Yeah, basically. And Ciri's the exact same because she can travel between universes, she can travel between realms. She basically is like this super powered fucker, and everybody wants her, including the Wild Hunt. So the idea is you've got to go to all these places, find Ciri before the Wild Hunt does, and deal with the Wild Hunt, who are basically just the big bads. I hate to say it, I hate to draw this comparison, they're the fucking consuls from Xenoblade. That's basically what they are. They just sit in the background, They show up from time to time. There's only 3 of them that take their mask off.
Are they better than the consuls?
Yes, because they don't. Only 3 of them take their masks off, and they're not very important. They just kind of sit in the background.
Fair enough. That's funny. I figured the Wild Hunt, like in the subtitle, I always thought it was like an event rather than an organization.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what they are. But it's really good. The story is just like every character you meet, for the most part, is really interesting. And like you have these branching trees where there's the main one that's highlighted in yellow, and then you have all these other options that you can ask. And for the most part, from time to time, I was clicking those other options. I wanted to hear the story. I wanted to hear these characters talk. There's some really good stuff, and I like it quite a bit. I also like how this game has choices that change the ending of the game, but they don't do the fucking every other game thing where they like pause the game, go big decision time, bitch. What are you gonna do? You're gonna save the puppy, or you're gonna let it get run over. What are you gonna do? It's gonna affect the course of the universe. It doesn't do that. It's like there's so many arbitrary things where you look back at what the requirements are for the ending, and you're like, what? Like, really? These small things actually changed the way that this turned out? It's really interesting, to be honest.
It's kind of like back in the day, like psychological horror games would give you like assign certain ways that you played stuff to if you got the good or bad ending.
Yeah,
and it's not quite the same thing, but it
is kind of similar. And
counter.
It's definitely kind of similar, and I also love that this game, one thing I will say is the relationship between Geralt and Ciri, I absolutely adore, because it's one of those father... It's similar to The Last of Us in the way, and what I mean by this is it's one of those father kind of daughter relationships, like, or just like father-child relationships that you don't see in games. Very rarely has it ever happened, where it does like an actual job of actual parenting here. The right answer isn't to hold the hand, do it for them, be with them the whole time. It's like, it's actually to be like, It's okay to be yourself. The game's like, if to do a good job of resolving this, it's pushing her to make her own choices, to be independent, instead of doing what every other video game, which is like, okay, you're going to have someone... Bioshock Infinite, fucking hate how it does this. This is what put me off the game, where it's like, you have this person with you who is obviously, like, in the game world, is basically like, she's kind of like, she's not your daughter, but she's like that kind of like relationship where it's like, you're an old guy, she's a young girl, you're basically trying to protect her, right?
Yeah.
And all it is, protect her, hide away, let's do this. It's like, I get fucking sick of that. I'm like, it's kind of a really good relationship that I like. My biggest gripe with this game has got to be and most of it is to do with the fantasy drama in general, where like there's some parts of it that I just don't click with, and I feel like one of the things, I feel like I might get flagged for this, and I don't know if this is just me, but it's just like, this game has, like, on the top of my head, like, if I'll even include the DLC just to be fair, has like 8 female characters that are substantial to this, like, and actually good in the entire game. Like, just like in comparison to like the dozens and dozens of male characters, there's like 8 good female characters, and like all of them bar like 2 are romance options, and I'm just like, God. Like, when female, like Ciri, I absolutely adore. She's my favorite character in the game. Triss and Yen are really good. You know, there are some good side characters to it, but I'm like, man, like, you'll just come across people like, there's like the Baron, who is like this really complicated character who's lost his wife, and his daughter have gone missing, and there's this complicated relationship where you're like, okay, have they just gone missing, or is there actually more to this? Have they run away? What's this kind of... There's a really complicated character, and you're like, oh man. And then you see the wife and the daughter later, and you're like, they're really one-dimensional, and they're nothing compared to like the Baron, who's this really complex character that has multiple quests revolving around him. And it's just like kind of one of those things where I was like, I would really love to have more kind of characters that just feel different, that are just more unique, that aren't just, you know, just guys being guys, and not just being like, hey, you can fuck that person, dude. You can go get him. Like, literally, the only ones that aren't, it's like, that's because she's your daughter, that's because she's like royalty, and that's because, you know, the other one's also royalty. So it's like, that's literally it. It's like, if they're royalty or your daughter, no go. Everyone else, have fun. You go, Geralt, you go, you little rascal, you. And I'm just like, come on. And it sucks. There are so many great characters in this game. There are so many good characters. They're awesome. They're like, I thought I'd hate Geralt. I ended up really liking Geralt. He's a really good character. I really like him. I see why people really grow attached to him. I love him. There's characters like Dandelion, who like play a comedic relief character who I absolutely love. He's basically, in the world of The Witcher, he's kind of the narrator of The Witcher, where all of the stories in the Witcher universe are basically him having written down the tales, because Geralt has told him, and he's a poet, so he's been writing them down. So in the menus, all of the descriptions and all of the dialogue and stuff like that, all the character entries are written from Dandelion's perspective of Geralt telling him the story. So he's like, they're all written like that.
I love it when they have like an...
And then when you meet him in person, because you hear like his voice in the narration and stuff like that, he's got this kind of really historic, like kind of storytelling voice where he's like all grand and all of this. Geralt went to look for Ciri and Velen. It's like that. But then when you meet him, he's kind of your kind of traditional kind of poet, kind of goofball who is way too, like, he's always got his eyes on other women. He's always getting himself into trouble, and Geralt's always saving him, and he's always telling people that he keeps saving Geralt and stuff like this. And now there's really kind of adorable relationship where they're both really good friends, but they also feel like they have nothing in common. I love it. They're great. There's so many good relationships in this game. I just wish there was more kind of female relationships. I also wish there was less fucking unity in this game, because it felt really awkward on Christmas when family was around, where I was like, I'm trying to play Witcher 3, and I'm like, every time I'm like, please don't have a naked woman in this scene, please don't have It's like watching Game of Thrones, when you're just like, I'm praying. I'm fucking praying there's like a 1 in 2 chance that this happens. And it always happens. And I'm just not into it. It just doesn't do it for me. I'm just not into it.
Yeah.
But that's that's the fantasy genre in general, right? I'm talking about Game of Thrones, other stuff like that. It happens, and I'm just like, it just ain't
if it just
for me.
doesn't click with you, then
it just doesn't click.
That's just your
It
taste.
happens, and it's normally gratuitous. I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just wish. In terms of DLC, I think the DLC is really solid. Well, you should play the DLC. It's very good. Hearts of Blood and Wine in particular, very good DLC. Also, it has
Also
2 of
a
the
really
strongest
cool
female
name.
characters in it, because they're like the 2 main characters in the game. It's really good. Very good. Love that. And Hearts of Stone is good as well. So there's a load of good stuff. A couple of gripes, but it's mainly with the genre, not the game. Just that the gameplay's a bit boring. And there's too many quests. And too many quests are, gotta hunt a beast, gotta go to a certain area, gotta hold L2, see the thing that's in red, follow the thing that's in red till you find the thing, kill the thing, report back. So many of those quests. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, those are the kind of things that I just kind of stop doing these days.
Yeah.
But
There's so
yeah.
many of them, and by the
Yeah.
by the end of the game, I was like, I am so sick of tracking things because there's nothing interesting. And I always thought, I'm like, one day there's going to be a twist where it's like, oh, they think that there's a beast that's killing them, and it turns out that it's actually a person who's been murdering all these people and doing something weird. Never happens. There's stuff like that in the DLC a bit where people are like, oh, it's a beast and stuff like that, but it's actually something else. They do stuff like that, but in the main game, I was waiting for there to be more interesting side missions and then just go to the area, find the thing, kill the thing, and report back. 90% of the time, it is just that.
Oof.
But there is some good stuff, and like I say, it's great. It's great. If you like fantasy games, if you like fantasy as a genre, you're gonna love it. If you have a couple of gripes like I do with that kind of stuff, it's not necessarily The Witcher's fault. It's more the genre. Them.
It's your fault.
It's my fault. It's my fault for not liking boobs on my screen every 5 minutes, Kyle. It's my fault. It can't be helped.
The Witcher is one of those games for me that is really funny that I haven't played yet because I do like fantasy games like Dragon Age or
he likes boobs on his screen every 5 minutes, guys. You heard it here. That's what he said.
Is that just what you associate fantasy with, Ethan?
After playing The Witcher 3, Kyle, yes. I don't think you here's the thing, right? I don't think you understand. I 100% don't think that other fantasy games are like this. But when I'm talking about, it happens like every 2 to 3 hours. I'm not even talking or maybe even hour to 3 hours based on what you do. It's not a rare occurrence. I'm not talking about okay, there's 5 scenes in the entire game. I'm talking about it's everywhere if you go looking. And it's just I'm just a bit come on.
I think so. I think I heard similar complaints about Cyberpunk when it launched.
Oh, good. Can't wait. See you in a year when I play that, guys.
Yeah. Besides the glitches, they said something about how that was distracting as well. But
and it's
what I was saying was I like fantasy games quite a bit, and I don't know why I never played The Witcher, but now these days it's kind of like one of those. I'm just going to save it for if I suddenly become unemployed and need to squeeze a stone for every ounce of blood that's in it.
My friend also said that. He was like, that's an unemployment game. And I'm like, I like that you guys are in your head are like, that's for unemployment. That's for when I lose my job. Or I leave because I'm sick of working. I'm like, that's the spirit.
It's one of those ones. It's one of those ones that would be really good for that, because then I could still have something to do and also not have to go buy something else for a while.
Oh, and there's literally, I could have squeezed many, many, many more hours out of this game. There was all the DLC side quests that I didn't do. There was all, there were other bits and pieces that I could have done, like all the achievements or going and getting all the crafting recipes and stuff like that, all the armor. There's so much stuff you can do. I just don't necessarily see a point in doing it unless you're really into it. And like I say, it's mainly little gripes, and it's more like a kind of, oh, for fuck's sake, we're doing this again. It's not like I'm going, this is an abomination. Hide your children. Lock everybody up. No one can play The Witcher. This is on it. No, I don't care.
Burn it at the stake.
I'm just kind of like, I bet you someone was I bet you someone was like, oh, hell yeah. And I'm like, those are the people that I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. That's what I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. You don't have to try and make me horny. Just let me enjoy a good story. Is that too much to ask?
No one says they can't do both.
Yeah. Or do both. Why not? I just feel like I've come off and I'm just like, I feel like I have turned into someone that goes to the parent teacher conference and is like, this is unacceptable. Oh
my God.
The things kids are wearing these days are unacceptable. No. Just in moderation, guys. Just in moderation, Witcher. You know what I'm saying? Just in moderation.
You heard it here first.
This is why Bayonetta gets away with it. It's only a 6-hour game.
To be fair, I forgot the part in the Bayonetta where all of her clothes go away and you just see everything under. I don't remember that part. At least there's a line of hair. Oh well, I'll just play Bayonetta 3 in that baby demon mode or whatever it was.
Bayonetta is substantially more ridiculous, percentage-wise, a lot of the time than these games, even if there is.
Oh yeah, 100%. And also, like I say, it's me. I'm the problem. It's not the game's fault. It's me. I'm just I still live at home. don't want my mum walking into this because I'm scared
like,
for my life.
There's a difference
you're an
between you
adult.
saying that.
It's
there's
still
a difference
weird.
between you saying that and then like, for example, something like Danganronpa 2, where that fan service is just bad because it's
it's awful,
poorly written.
Yeah, and it's not like
it's
that.
Horrible. Atrocious.
Like I say, Witcher 3 is something like, you get your quest is in a brothel, or a quest is in this, or or Geralt is an extremely handsome man, so of course everybody's going to swoon over him, and it's like, it's stuff like that. It's nothing that I'm like, this is an atrocity. I'm just like, I don't know. This is going into too personal. This is like, hey, this is like therapy time, guys. It's like, why don't you like the nudity in The Witcher 3? And I'm just like, because there's too much and I'm scared my mum's going to come in. It's like when I did play Xenoblade 2. It's like when I did play Xenoblade 2 because I thought that was too horny.
Oh, man.
Anyway. So that's my review of The Witcher 3, guys. I recommend it unless you live at home. Otherwise, play it when your parents are asleep because you don't want that conversation. It's fab. It was probably my second favourite backlog game this year. Anyway, and the next gen port, should have mentioned that. Didn't even fucking bother. It's good because of course it is. It's a PS4 game that's been upgraded to PS5 and Xbox. Of course it's good. It's 60 FPS. It looks nice. It good. Wow. Good game, still good. Wow. It's great. So it gets my recommendation, and just don't play it around your parents. Or do, and just have that conversation. And if you do have that conversation, fair play. I respect that. Healthy relationship.
Just do it and own it.
Do it and own it. That's what
Make a disturbing amount of eye contact.
I just would love. That's the thing. I just think it'd be extremely funny if you're just like, this is the 10th time this has happened today because it's that frequent. And then your mum just like walks in and you're just like, trust me, this is a regular occurrence, okay? It's not what it looks like. This is just the game. Trust me. It's fine. What's the worst that could happen? Anyway, I've talked enough. That's enough of me. I'm out. See you next week, guys. It's time for them to talk. It's time for them to talk.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo. But no, if you guys played The Witcher 3, let me know. And Hunter, you're going to have to play it at some point, because I do want to talk to you about it. Because, like I say, it's a good game.
Oh.
There's good parts to it.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things where,
Hunter become unemployed.
Please don't.
I'm not gonna do that.
Your wallet helps fund this
It's like, don't do
podcast
that.
with
We need that. We need the new games more than we need you to play The Witcher.
We just need like a big push this year on content, and so we have enough supporters that we can have a Patreon that just pays for Hunter to play games, not to fund his life, just to get him games. Then you can quit. I need that stream of Hunter playing games, guys. I swear. But no, it's a fantastic game. I love it.
It's one of those ones where it's like, I'll get to it when I get to it, it'll eventually happen. Like, still gonna play Red Dead Redemption 2 someday.
Oh, I love that game too. That game's fantastic, bro. Oh, fucking hell. Remember when games were good? Like, genuinely.
That was nice.
I'm still waiting, and I'm hoping this year has it. I'm still waiting for, like, we had it slightly with Persona 5 Royal, but with me. But I already had played Persona 5 Royal, and we kind of had it with Xenoblade 3 a little bit. But I'm just waiting for that kind of game that just kind of is like Red Dead Redemption 2, where I'm just like, this is everything right now. Like, I love Xenoblade 3, I love it to death. But it was also a JRPG, and I don't fully get into them like that way. Whereas Red Dead 2, I'm like, this is it. This is my life. Like, I love it. Oh, maybe they should.
That's absolutely what Zelda is going to be for me. If that,
I'm just hoping.
This
it will make it this year. I'm just hoping that the wait's been that long. I'm just hoping. I know I'm gonna love it, and I know you're gonna love it. I'm just hoping that the internet doesn't dogpile on it for being a sequel to Breath of the Wild, if that makes sense. Because it's been long enough that they could have also have made something else. So I feel like it's going to be too harsh.
If they do, they're gonna wait at least a month to do it.
And you know what? We'll be there. We'll be there ready for it. We'll be there on the front line.
Skyward Sword even had nice things said about it.
Tears of the Kingdom overrated.
Beginning.
That's true.
Watch the comments pouring. It's going to be great. Anyway.
Don't change the thumbnail this time.
I won't be a coward, dude.
You own it.
No. We're just going to anger everybody. Things. There you go. I can't wait for the highlight. I can't wait to bring back HGO highlights just for the clip of Ethan hates boobs in video games just to see the dislikes. That's what we're gonna do. Bring them on in.
Funny.
Come on, guys, fight me. It's a shame. Couldn't even use that for a stinger because I don't know if boobs is on the YouTube fucking list. You
On
know
the
what I
naughty
mean?
list?
Yeah, I don't know. Am I on the naughty list now? Am I on the naughty list?
Probably.
Probably. I'm always on the naughty list. I'm the reason that
Feel
we
like-
get on the naughty list. Anyway,
Well, it's certainly not Hunter.
no, Hunter's a good. Hunter's a little.
Hunter just makes up words, I'm pretty sure.
I go the other direction where it's like disturbing because of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
That's
get where
fair.
I'm going.
Yeah.
And I respect that. I think.
Too much detail.
Yeah, I honestly respect it. I genuinely do. Because you have some kind of level of control. And I can turn that control on, right? If I very much want to, I can very easily do that. I do it at work all the time. I do it on the radio all the time. Because I can't. But just sometimes. I'm just a bit too passionate. And I'm also British. It's like, it's kind of ingrained in my DNA. It's like us and Australians. It's like if we're not swearing in like every 3 sentences, there's like a part of our brain that's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just one of those things. Anyway, I swear that's it from me now. That's it for this one. Kyle, you finally did it.
I did do it.
What did you
I
do?
own a UFO. The PlayStation 5 is in my possession.
Congratulations.
Video people, you can see it poking out on the side of my screen.
It's that big. It's that
God,
big.
I hate it.
You could
I love
jam
it,
Kevin
but
Miller's
it's
locked door with
stupid.
that. That's how big it is. If I can prop it up, he's never getting out.
Not until Sly 5 gets Sly 5 gets put on there.
Dude, poor
Sly
Kevin Miller. He's never coming out of
on
that
the
closet.
PS5.
I know. Poor Kevin.
So yeah, how do you feel about the PS5 now that you've had it? You've had it for like a couple of weeks now. How are you feeling about
Yeah.
it overall?
I really like this controller. This controller
Dude, the
is real
control's the best
comfy.
part. The control's
No,
the
the
best
It's
part.
DualSense
so
is, like,
cozy.
The best thing, man.
It is like the most comfortable, like one of the most comfortable controllers. And it's like the thing I hated the most about PlayStations throughout the whole, it's like they've always had, like Nintendo's had some dog shit controllers, but then they've also had good controllers, right? Whereas like PlayStation, I grew up on the DualShock. It's like my bread and butter, right? It's like my norm. I'm so ingrained, but it's also so fucking awful. Where it's like, the DualShock 1, 2, and 3, the what would you even call it? Like the grips, like the little nubs on the side, they're way too small. They don't fit in your hand
handles.
properly. It's all cramped. Yeah, the handles. Thank you for coming up with an actual word that isn't just nubs. Oh yeah, I love the controller nubs,
Nubs.
guys. The nubs for your hands. But yeah, it's just that's always too small. The controls are always too cramped. And then the DualShock 4 was like a step in the right direction, but it also was so light, very easily throwable. May I add, very easily throwable, very easily destroyed by a radiator. But that's a story for a different day. So I just
Very
never
easily battery killable too.
yeah. Whereas like there's something about the DualSense where it's bigger, it's weightier, it feels chunky, and it's like I don't know if you played Astro's Playroom or whatever, Kyle.
I did not.
you
I
need
had
to play
other
it.
things to
You
play.
should play it. It's really
It's
good.
good.
And it's only 2 hours long, if that.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
great.
good. It's genuinely like the best 3D platformer I've played in like the past 2 years. Like it's really damn good. But it's just like that first experience of playing Astro's Playroom for the first time on launch day was magical, and I've not had an experience like that in the 2 years that the console's been out since, because it's just like the stuff that's cool about the DualSense, like the triggers, pretty cool. The haptics is probably the best part of it, but it's like
Yeah, the haptic voodoo.
I never am like, oh yeah, that really impacted my experience. Really, if anything, the only time I ever notice
Well,
it
no,
now
but
is
it's
if
like
it's
a
bad.
cool detail.
Yeah, if they do it right, like if it's a Sony first party game, I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. But most of the time, I just have experiences where I'm like, this is awful, turn it off. Like whenever I'm playing a first person shooter or whatever, and the gun's like on the trigger, and I'm like, get that shit off. I don't want that.
For me, it's become one of those things that I don't notice until it's gone. Or like I wouldn't know unless I took like walking around. Like in a lot of games now, if you're like walking around, the haptics will change when you change what you're walking on. And it's like I don't notice that, but if I'm like glancing away from the screen and suddenly I'm also still moving my character and I walk onto something else, I'll be able to be like, oh, Yeah.
It is one of those things. It's interesting because it's like I've used so much time on my PS5, also just playing PS4 games on it because they run better and look nicer, like most of the time. So it's one of those things where it's interesting where I just go between stuff. I hardly notice, but I also think that's just because I feel like it's that kind of monkey brain kind of ultra focus mode that I go into where I'm like, I just don't notice anything. Like I'm just kind of just like, I like game good.
No,
so I'm just
no
gonna,
thoughts, just game.
Yeah, no
Must
thoughts,
press square.
just game. And I'm also just the kind of idiot that's like, no, I will not play the new version of this game because the trophy list doesn't sync properly. So I'll just sit with the old version like a dumbass because I don't want to do the trophies again. I'm looking at you, Overwatch. I'll never play them. I'm still
Fall
playing
Guys.
Yeah, and Fall Guys. Just never going to play multiplayer games again, apparently, that just don't get patches. Oh well, I'll live. But anyway, so how do you feel about the whole experience? Because I've seen you play Genshin. You've been playing a bit of this and that. How are you feeling about the console as a whole?
I'm enjoying it. It's got a lot of nice stuff. I'm really a fan of how fast it loads everything. That's a super nice plus.
The PS Store is fucking amazing. I love the PS Store. I love the fact that it just works.
It just is there.
It's just
it doesn't have to load into a separate thing like on PS4.
I like that. It's good. And you've obviously been playing some stuff. Genshin, obviously.
I have. Yeah, that shit loads super quick.
Is it nice that the rainforest works properly now?
It is.
Epic.
Game's not chugging anymore.
And then you also, thanks to the power of the PlayStation Plus, whatever it's called, extra, premium, whatever it is.
Who knows, dude?
Tier 3.
Whatever, Tier 2, Remake, Intergrade, part of Tier 2, or it's probably Tier 2, would be my guess.
I don't know. Kyle has Tier 3, though. So.
I do.
That's unfortunate. I'm so sorry. I also have Tier 3. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. I don't even know what I'm getting from it, but it's not worth it.
My whole idea in my head is the reason that it's so shit at the moment is because they're probably making a new PS2 emulator so that you can do the rewind and stuff. That's my because they haven't added a PS2 game yet. They've just been the ones that were already on PS4. So
the ones that already exist there.
So my idea is they're probably making a new one so you can do the rewinds and they can make trophies easier or whatever. I'm like, that's my hope. But also, it's Sony. They're probably also just doing fuck all and just be like, yeah, giving Nintendo.
They're gonna put out one more PlayStation 2 game that. None of the new emulator things, and then they're gonna also throw in a free punch in the throat.
Am I asking too much? I just want the games that were in the PS3 collections just put on as a PS2 game, so I don't have to stream them. Is that too much to ask? I just want Sly, the trilogy, the Ratchet trilogy, to be like the Jack trilogy, where I can just play them on something that isn't a PS3. Is that too much to ask? I don't know. But anyway, the main point of this section, apparently, was. Let's talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, because you played the Yuffie expansion, whatever it's called.
Yes. With the power of the PS5, I got to play a 3-hour DLC. It could not be played on the PS4.
Definitely couldn't do
Not possible.
No.
To load Midgar
Fort
and
Condor
the lab.
was just too much.
Fort Condor was just too much.
It was very powerful.
The PS4 couldn't handle Midgar and the lab again.
So what are your impressions of it then?
I got so much more fun out of this than I was expecting to.
Mm-hmm.
As I think I made it... I don't even know if I made this clear on the podcast. I was very lukewarm on Remake as a whole.
You made that clear.
Okay. If... New listeners, there was a part in the game where I made Hunter play it for me because I couldn't be bothered. It was Hojo's lab.
It's not a spoiler.
In his defense, that is the worst part of the game.
Well, I mean, I like how you're trying to hide it. I'm like, hang on a minute. If someone sins, we're not hiding it. Hojo's lab is awful. Like that's terrible. That's like the worst part.
Hojo's lab sucks.
It's really bad.
I played it for him because I figured it would be, small price to pay for me to just zip through it for him so he could finish the game.
And I think the funniest thing is I didn't notice the first time playing through because the game's so good that when I got to that part, I didn't notice how shit it was because I was still running on the hype of the rest of the game. So I was like, oh, this is all right. It's probably a bit of a low point, but it's got to get better again. And then playing through it second time,
it registered enough that I'm pretty sure when we talked about the low points in the spoiler cast, that was the first thing I said.
Probably.
I wasn't Yeah, I also wasn't like, it wasn't this horribly scarring experience, or it didn't set that way yet.
It's just got everything that you don't want. Terrible fights, indoor locations that are garbage, an never-ending section,
Terrible
puzzles
layout.
that don't work.
Yep.
And by that, I mean they're not really puzzles and they're not fun, so what's the point of them? Just pressing the X button in certain locations, like, oh god, fucking awful. Anyway.
Party gets split up and you have to keep switching materia.
Yeah.
If you're like me and you didn't buy 1 million materia for everybody.
Oh, I bought 1 million materia. That's because I'm an idiot. But anyway, Remake Intergrade isn't like that.
Correct. It's 3 hours long and I loved it.
Nice. What was your favorite parts?
Honestly, this game made me really like Yuffie a lot more than I was expecting to, and more than I ever thought I would have, given the kind of character that Yuffie is. But
yeah, she gets substantially more characterization in just this little part than she did in like all of what I could remember in 7.
Yeah.
Probably because she was just optional in 7, so they're
yeah.
like, give you the idea and then move on.
Yeah. And Suzy Young, the VA for Yuffie, she really knocked it out of the park, capturing
she's really
the
good.
hyperactive teenager.
Because that's because it's like she portrays that kind of almost cliched kind of anime, kind of hopeful optimist kind of character where it's like nothing's gonna break my optimism for everything going fine and us getting what we wanted, and kind of going through this situation where it's not
3
like
hours
that.
later.
Yeah. And it's, she kind of plays it really well, where it's like, I was expecting by an hour in to be like, oh my fucking god, please shut up, like, I'm sick of this. And it never happened. I was genuinely like, throughout the entirety of it, it was really well done. Anyway.
And she's also super fun to play as well. Just like all the ninja magic she has access to. I thought a lot of the gameplay
her style was cool.
Yeah, I thought a lot of in base 7 remake, I thought a lot of the characters to play as were very underwhelming, where Tifa was the only one I really enjoyed. But that's just because Aerith and Barret are just like projectile slow attacks, and Cloud's Buster Sword was super weighty. It just didn't mesh with how I wanted to play. But Yuffie really hit the sweet spot for me.
It's good. It is very good.
Did you like the heavy metal version of the Happy Turtle song?
God, yes.
It was great.
I loved that part so much. I was not ready for that, and it was so good. I was like, oh, yeah, let's go.
I think the great thing about that DLC was it was genuinely kind of... You have multiple kinds of DLC, right? You have, like, shit DLC, like the story section of Kingdom Hearts Remind. And then you have, like...
Yes.
You have more of what you got, which is like, say, Witcher 3 with like its expansions, where it's just more of that game, and it's like, oh, that's great.
Horizon,
and then you
Frozen
kind of have,
Wilds.
and then you have like this kind of DLC where it's like, we know that this is a short and sweet DLC that is probably only going to be fans or people who are coming in on the upgrade, and it's like, so we're just going to make like a compressed, like condensed, good little romp for people who are fans of Final Fantasy 7 are going to pick up the upgrade for like 10 quid. I'm like, that's cool. I really like that kind of experience because it's not like the main game, but also it's not like this stupidly long like thing where you don't have to relearn the entirety of the video game to play like another 10-hour installment where you're like, okay, gotta get back into it. Where were we? How does this game play again? It's like it takes you back to the start with a new character that doesn't even play really like Cloud, so you just get to just go on an adventure from the start, and it's not too long and tiresome.
Yeah. And I'll also say I did go through this game just straight golden path, didn't really bother with side stuff, went through the whole thing on
there's not much
easy
side
mode
stuff anyway.
For you. Yeah,
I played the one game of Fort Condor they made you play.
I played all of it.
Make you play one.
Good for you, Ethan.
I played all of it.
I don't care about trophies, so I didn't.
Did it for Johnny. I didn't even do it for the trophy. I did it for Johnny, bro.
You know what? That's
Yeah,
fair.
Johnny.
Respect.
I love Yuri Lowenfall.
We all do.
But no, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And
Me too.
It's just that short little wait now.
I can't wait for next year.
No, December, boys. You gotta believe. I'm
Winter.
believing. I'm riding that copium. I'm getting that December Final Fantasy 7 game. That's what's gonna get me through this year. It's gonna get me through everything, and we're just gonna have a fun time.
I mean, I'd like to have the game this year, but I'm also not chomping at the bit for it. You know,
I feel like there's two ways. There's a toss of the coin here, and there's a part of me that's like, how far in development is Kingdom Hearts? Is my guess, because I'm like, you know how Square Enix loves shitting out games, so I'm just like,
I do.
I would not be surprised if they chuck it out at the end of this year. If they know that Kingdom Hearts is going to be next year, they might just chuck it out in December and be like, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? Oh, fucking have fun. You have fun, Final Fantasy kids. But then also, I know Nomura, and that game's probably 2026, so they might just be like, you know what, put it in 2024. We need good sales figures for the financial quotes. But no, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you finally hopped aboard the next gen hype train.
Me
Choo
too,
choo.
dude.
Current gen, I guess now. Welcome to having.
It feels good. It feels good that I
wait.
can finally contribute to the podcast if I feel like it.
No, you were still contributing. It was just mainly on Switch though, and some PS4 games.
Yeah.
But now you can join us on big meaty games like Forspoken. Woo.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Resident Evil 4.
That is a
what I
woo.
wanna
No,
do.
that is a woo. That is an actual woo.
That's what I want to do.
You were supposed
Hunter.
you were supposed to say fucking whatever it was called. What's that shitty pirate game called again? By you, Skull and Bones. You were supposed to say
Skull and Bones.
Sea of Thieves.
Oh,
Sea of Thieves nuts. Yeah, that's exactly.
that's an Xbox game, you goober.
Haven't played it.
Oh, let me play that on my computer. Is it on Game Pass?
Yeah, of course it is.
Oh,
It's an Xbox
baby.
game.
Every Xbox game is on Game Pass.
Day
That's
one.
how it works.
Wow, what a deal! Best value.
Bro,
in
I don't know
gaming.
I don't know how Game Pass works. I don't own an Xbox.
What you do is
I've
it's like
heard it
PlayStation
works.
Plus. It's like PlayStation Plus. It's the exact same,
Oh,
but they technically, yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, moving on. Hunter, this is the part of the show where I promise you we would definitely have less to say about all of these because we won't go on a tangent about Kyle's massive fucking burden that is the PS5 in his fucking room. He's now lost a fifth of his room to a PS5. Hunter, you went down the old backlog pit when during the break.
I sure did.
So what did you find? What did you dig up?
I dug up Max Payne, which was a game I started back in like 2020, and then I don't know, something came out,
The classic.
and I stopped playing it. The same thing happened to Shovel Knight. Like I don't remember why I started one of them before I finished the other one too, because like something came out, I finished that something, and like one of these games had been started, and I just started the other one instead of going back to whichever one was first. But Max Payne, very I've always been kind of interested in it. I like Remedy a lot from playing Control, so
A game in my backlog.
yeah. So like I really liked them after I played Control and wanted to see what the rest of their games were like. Last year I played Alan Wake, and that was interesting at least. So Max Payne though, I enjoyed that quite. I enjoyed this game quite a bit. It shows its age in a lot of ways because it's like from 2001. It's got some like its core gameplay is really good. Like it came before the stupid magnetized cover systems that third-person shooters have.
My favorite.
Where if you want to hide behind something, you have to actually like physically put your character there every time instead of just, pushing the button to pop out of, the stupid little knee-high sandbag.
Do you know?
walls.
I forgot that shit like that happens. I should have given Witcher more respect, to be honest, because I was like, I forgot shitty cover systems, and here's my big thing that I remembered: not a single fucking. Actually, was there one? Oh, there was one, but it was just one tailing mission in the entirety of a fucking RPG. I was like, massive respect. It's like shit like that. Like, especially, when you just go back, it's like whenever you just like look at like Gears of War, for example, and all I fucking see is walls in that game. I'm like, wall, get the cover, shoot the fucker, and it's like, man.
You know what the confusing thing about looking at Gears of War and it being like hide behind cover and shoot is that they had the chainsaw on the gun, and that was like its big selling point.
Yeah.
You figured you'd want to get. You figured they would have made a game that encouraged getting up in your enemy's Kool-Aid a bit more.
Now, you see, the Chainsaw Hunter it was very good for its time because it's a
Kool-Aid.
cover shooter. So the chainsaw was
heard
used
me.
to chainsaw the cover, so you could take the cover with you. So you chainsaw the cover, you pick up your
Is
brick.
that an actual mechanic?
No.
Okay, I didn't know.
like, yeah, you've been playing Gears of War wrong.
I didn't play Gears of War.
Neither have I. I
That's
just
why
like
you
I
did
want
it
to
wrong.
like, is that real? I'm just like, yeah, sure. I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna start doing
Yeah.
it. See, the thing about The Witcher
So, like,
3,
Max Payne-
yeah.
So, yeah, Max Payne engineers scenarios where you can hide behind cover, but it's mostly to set up the really cool, like, slow motion dodge jump thing he has that, it makes you. Basically.
Yeah,
the Matrix bank scene, essentially. You're just recreating that over and over, and it doesn't get old. It's amazing. Because Max Payne was one of the first games to do that bullet time stuff that also pops up in a lot of games with third person involving any kind of shooting, whether it's a shooter or just you shoot things as part of what you do. There's a lot of bullet time these days. Max Payne manages to still feel kind of unique in the way that, probably just because of how the way they set it up is quaint in some ways, but the way that it shows its age as far as the first one is designed is that there are so many times where it's like the thing that it wants me to do to move forward is real goofy, because it doesn't give you much of an indication of what it is.
Like, it's classic.
It's like
I love
old
my
game
favorite
syndrome.
No, that's my favorite part of where the fuck am I going, the game. I love that part where it's like, okay, where the fuck am I going? I love that. My favorite part of like linear third person stuff is always that part where somehow this game is a fucking straight line. It's basically a point to point thing,
you still don't
and
know
I still
what to
can't
do.
fucking work it out. It's like it's like a marvel of edge. I really think that this is the reason why stupid shit like Horizon's yellow bricks happen, because it's like back in the day, everyone was like, okay, so this is a straight office building. Where the fuck am I going? Because I see a table and I'm like, well, I'm fucked. This is it. And now it's like now everything's yellow. It's like, no, avoid the table. It's fucking blue so that you can see it. I'm like, no.
It's just not very good at conveying the things you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the final thing that you do is like you're chasing after the lady who who basically ruined Max's life. She's like escaping in a chopper, and you have to like shoot down these support cables for this tower that's on the top of the building, like a radio tower or something that's on the top of the building, so it hits the chopper. And there's like not a whole lot of feedback that shooting the cables, or no, you shoot the cables and then you have to give it like an extra push, like with I guess sniper rifle bullets have enough force behind them to push over the loose metal. But there wasn't really a whole lot of feedback in that because you shoot it once and it's like nothing happens. There's not really a whole lot of feedback that if it didn't work then, that it would work if you kept doing it. And there's a whole lot of situations like that in the first game that do that. The second game is a lot better about that, as far as it just kind of truncates the experience. There's less nonsense between your combat encounters. It's mostly just walk up here. There were a couple of times you had to like do some kind of stupid jump. By the way, the controls for the first game are bizarre. Like L1 or something was the jump button. Man, it was goofy. I was like, what is, or not L1? It might have been R1. It was something stupid.
Something stupid.
Less ew.
No, still ew.
But
Still
like,
ew.
Yeah, still gross, but less.
Yeah, like the first game was oftentimes at odds with its, because it did this thing pretty often where also the first game only worked by like checkpoints, and it'd be like sometimes 5 to 10 minutes between checkpoints. Not a big deal, but sometimes they would have this obstacle that's like either at the beginning or end, where it's like, oh, towards the end of the game, it's like dodge these lasers that kill you instantly with your kind of clunky controlling character. Like you could switch it to work on the D-pad, so where you have like more control over more direct control over how he's moving, but I have to push the select button and go to controller config, and then because it sucks to move like that in like actual combat, I have to switch it back after I'm done, and I hope I don't die. The second game is a lot better at like just kind of, it figured out what the first game was good at and did more of that, and the stuff that was to break up the pace it got in the way less. I think the second game's actually even a little bit shorter. Like the first game's 8 hours and 2 is like 6. And I think it's an overall just nicer experience, honestly.
I feel
They
that's a
both-
good length for shooters. I feel like 6 hours is a good
Yeah.
length. People always complain about that shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I remember seeing reviews all the time when people are like, the COD campaign this year is only 6 hours. And I'm like, bro, you think I can handle 6 hours? You think I'm not going to get bored within those 6 hours? I'm like, I'd much rather with shooters, because the gameplay gets very repetitive a lot of the time. Once you've kind of figured out the way the game works, there's only so much you can kind of do with it. So I'm like, 6
Yeah.
hours is usually the breaking point where I'm like, okay, I've had enough now. Can we wrap it up? Like, there's only so many
like the
guys I can
result
shoot.
And I wasn't feeling like the experience was shortened. I feel like the lower hour count was the result of them cutting out the silly nonsense in between
The fluff.
fights I was doing. Yeah, it was a more. It's like how I like Miles Morales more than Spider-Man.
Dude, I played
2018
that over
because
Christmas.
it has
It's so good.
because it has less of the silly nonsense like non-Spider-Man Spider-Man
Oh,
sections.
do you know how much I love that? It's just like, it was just something like it. I was playing it again. I was like, when it's just like, oh no, you just have to do one of the crimes of each of the crimes and just do it well. And I'm like, oh, that's so
Yeah.
it's so good. Because fucking Spider-Man 1, I forgot Spider-Man 1 was like, you need to do 10 crimes in every fucking suburb of New York. I'm like, oh my god, please
Ew.
kill me now. Like, genuinely. It was like,
Yeah,
do
yeah.
80 crimes. I'm like, no, don't want it. But anyway.
But yeah, so like at the gameplay level, 2 is I think 2 is just the better game overall. These are getting remade sometime. Like Remedy announced that sometime last year. That's in the works. I feel like bringing a bit more modern sensibilities into this will be a really solid package because I imagine they're gonna sell them together. They're not gonna. And it'll be a really solid package that way. As far as like the story and stuff, like the way these games present themselves is really cool, because it's like a typical like noir thing to the point where it's played so straight that it almost like it would almost seem like it's a self-parody, but it's like right on the edge of that. Like if someone were to try and write something like this today, they wouldn't be able to resist the urge to like wink and nudge at the camera. Just because Max is so like ridiculously serious about things. Like he says some of the silliest things with a straight face, and then it's like, oh well, and just because of the fact that he's that serious about it kind of tickles me more than if it was supposed to be comedic.
So it's not on purpose, where it's like kind of like
no, I don't think so. Some things are kind of on the nose in a way that I'm like, yeah, it's still amusing. I feel like it doesn't like take like the healing items are painkillers. And like Max Payne, arguably addicted to painkillers, kind of on the nose.
yeah.
But it's like that didn't ruin anything for me. I think it's kind of funny.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and just like there aren't a whole lot of games that have this kind of noir tone to them, and they've got this cool comic book presentation for a lot of the cutscenes. It's really neat. I think that's about it. The credit song for the second game is the first. Poets of the Fall is this band I like, and that was their first song. It's really cool to finally get the context for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And there you go. Max Payne 1 and 2 done. I just want to say that I came up with a joke, but it was too late to say it, so I'm going to say it anyway now. But when you were talking about when he's hunting down the lady or whatever that like ruined his life or whatever, and I was like, you could say that he was hunting down the person who gave Max pain, and I was like, badumts, thank you, goodbye. But it was too late. And it was like one of those things where my brain was like 2 minutes behind. I was like, damn, that's a shame. Anyway, Kyle, you played Pokemon Violet.
I did.
What did you think
really good.
of the broken video game that's actually quite fun?
Oh, I thought it was a fun video game.
Wow.
That wasn't really that broken as much as people said it was.
I didn't have too many problems. My main problem was the frame rate and the memory leak.
Yeah, frame rate was definitely the worst part, but other than that, my character stayed on the ground the whole game.
Oh,
So
mine? I can't remember. I also played it at launch, so it might have had a couple of patches since I played it.
yeah, there was definitely a patch put out.
Because my main problem with that game was the memory leaking and the time loss, where it was like, I think it was something like, if you look at my I can't remember. I remember seeing a video where someone was like, "Oh yeah, they played it at launch and they played it for like until they beat the game." And it said in their game time that they beat the game in 18 hours, but they'd been live on stream for like 23 hours, so they'd lost like 4 hours to frame drops in game. And I was like, that's fucking impressive how much memory leak that is. But it's like, other than that, it's so much fun. It's like it's the best fucking Pokemon game in terms of
It really
fun and
is.
gameplay mainline in years, like genuinely.
For real, honestly.
Mm.
Like, making Pokemon into open world seems like such an obvious thing to do, but it was a lot of fun. I remember on my playthrough, I had gone to the first gym, like you're supposed to, like a good boy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I ended up in the Water Town, which is where the fourth gym is.
Yeah.
I went to go fight the gym leader, and his Pokemon were like 10 levels above mine, and I said, okay, I shouldn't be here right now. Let's go find another thing.
I think like my favorite part of that game is like the first gym. There's like a gym because the first gym is like the one straight to the left of the map.
Yeah.
The one in diagonal bottom left, which is the next closest one, is like gym 7 or 8. So I really love the fact that it has like an Elden Ring moment where if you go to the next closest gym, it's like the second hardest gym in the game in terms of those. It's like just whoops you out. I'm just like, there's something funny about that. Where it's like, imagine the 8-year-old who. That gym, by the way, that's on the mountain in the corner, really annoying to get to because I got
so
lost.
hard, dude.
I got lost, and I'm like, poor 8-year-old. Imagine being 8 years, like being 7 years old, 6 years old, playing your first Pokemon game, and you beat your first gym, and so you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to the next closest one, and you spend 6 million years trying to figure out how that mountain works to get to the top of it, and then you get to the top. And then you get bodied by level 50 Pokemon, and you're like, well, I just wasted my time. Off I go.
I don't think I even found the right way into there. I used the rock climb with the ride Pokemon to just get over the mountain because I couldn't be bothered to figure out the real way.
No, I figured out the real way. I forgot the rock climb was a thing. Like I say, monkey brain. I forgot everything. I was just like, I go vroom, and that's about it.
I mean the rock climb ability, not the backwards long jump up the mountain.
Yeah. No, I know what you're on about. I forgot about that. Oh no, I just tried to backwards long jump it. I was like, that didn't work. Yes, I'll try to find the real way. I forgot there was an actual rock climb in the game. I was like...
that scenario that you just forgetting the rock, it reminds me of this time I played Breath of the Wild and forgot that the Zora tunic lets you swim up waterfalls.
Oh yeah.
I forgot that was a feature, so I spent like 10 minutes making a little ice stairs to get to where I was going, man. It was silly.
That's funny. But yeah. Do you have anything else about Pokemon that you wanted to add, Kyle?
This game, I would love if this game was... There's just a few little tweaks I would love to see the game, like the next Pokemon game, make. One is make it stable.
Yeah.
And not run like a slideshow.
Which has been funny because that's like we've been asking for that for the past 3 generations now.
This is true, we have. I know that's a big ask from Game Freak, but my second thing is make the gym leaders scale to your level, please. That's all I want.
Or
let me tackle these gyms in whatever order you want.
Yeah, I would like that. Because at the end of the day, I liked the idea of it being like, oh, you stumble into an area. Uh-oh, you silly goober. Now you're going to pay the price in an 8-year-old game.
I mean, that was funny. Kind of fun. I did enjoy that.
But it's also one of those things where it's like, it's kind of, then it's annoying because you got to try and figure out what's the intended order. And it's like, it's not really well documented. So I
feel like you could maintain the, you walked into somewhere that you shouldn't have. Like, maybe not the same thing, but I just got, murdered by the thing that's higher than me. Like, I feel like you could, like, have, maybe not this villain team, since that was, like, what, delinquency or whatever. But I feel like that would be something cool to have the villain team do in the next one. Would be, like, just periodically just random dudes that are, like, 3 times your level.
That would be a better
bullying you,
having
the
gyms, have the gym scale to your level, and then have the side story if they do keep like that separate. Have that be fixed. So you're like, if you enter in gang territory, it's like, oh no, this is level 30 gang territory. You need to fucking find a way around it to get to the gym that you want to go to, or stuff like that. That might be a more interesting way of going about it.
Because I forget if it was in the anime or in one of the games, but they kind of, there's one part in Pokemon where they imply that the gym leaders have like separate teams that they use depending on like the skill level of the challenger, based on like how many badges they have.
Well, that's in the
already.
games, because they do it in Violet as well, where you can re-challenge all the gym leaders and they'll have new teams. Where it's like they have like, oh, you're a champion now. Okay, we'll bring the big boy team out. I'm like, it's like, okay, we'll play for real this time. I'm like, what are we doing here? Is it just like, is
You
this
made
fucking
me use
daycare?
10% of my power.
Yeah, is this daycare? What the fuck? If you're a gym leader, you should be using your best Pokemon now. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, but no, I feel like this game genuinely was like the straw that broke the Switch's back in terms of anybody. Because here's the thing, it is Game Freak's fault, 100%. But I feel like people are like, if we get a new Switch, that means that Game Freak might stop making games that are actual Switch 1 quality. Like, that's what people are like. Or Game Freak's always 2 million steps behind. So if we improve the hardware, at least the 200 million steps behind will be more passable than it is currently. Like, I feel like that's the mental gymnastics we have to do to get around Game Freak's development. But it's, like I say, it's still a lot of fun. Pokemon
It is
had a
a
good
super
year
fun game.
last year.
Like,
And,
just get past the tutorial part at the opening, and once the game opens up, it's so much fun.
Like, if they do a DLC, unlike Sword and Shield, when their DLC comes out, I will probably pick up the DLC because I had fun, and I would more than happily play a bit of that again. I saw someone say, I can't remember, it was on Twitter or something, but they came up with the idea of, imagine if the DLC area was the region that connected between Paldea and Kalos. So it's like the mountain range between them, because there's a mountain range between them. I'm like, that's a cool idea of having like
that would be cool.
The DLC area be like the connective area. Because someone was like, "What if it's Galos?" I'm like,
expansion.
Kalos. I'm like, yeah, it's not gonna be Kalos. It just puts Pokemon in an interesting perspective now, where it's like, oh, you kind of have the spin-offs with like Legends Arceus, where you can do that kind of stuff. You have the main line, which is probably going to be more open world focused, and then when we do have the remakes, go back to actually having them be high quality, but then they can be your more traditional kind of Pokemon game now, where it's linear. I'm like, that's cool. Idea. Just don't do Brilliant Diamond, Shine and Pearl again. Don't do that
Please
kind of
don't.
quality. Fucking no. Don't let Ilka touch something again, please. Thank you.
God, in a dream world, this would never happen, and I'm aware of this, so I'm prefacing this statement with saying I know this could never happen. In a dream world, I would love for the Black and White remakes to get handed over to the Octopath team, and they do HD 2D. But I know that would never happen.
Oh yeah,
but it'd be real cool if it did.
It will never happen, and you'll be happy
I
when
know
you
it
get
won't.
your Ilka fucking chibis where they T-pose with dominance. Thank you very much. All I'm saying is, Black and White fans, you'll eat better
I'm
than
sorry
Diamond and
for
Pearl
you.
pads. I can promise you at least that much. It can't be worse than that. And I can't wait for someone to post that and tweet me that, like, within 3 years when the Black and White remakes come out and they're literal dog shit. I can't wait. Anyway.
Like, look, Ethan lied again.
But it's in my blood, apparently. Ethan just can't stop lying. What are you going to do about it? Anyway, Carrion, Hunter. Let's pick up the pace. Carrion.
All right. Oh, Carrion. This was a game that came out,
it.
I think, in 2020. It basically touted itself as like a reverse horror game. You play as this kind of, I don't know, flesh monster that's, you know, just terrorizing people, eating them, stabbing them, so on and so forth.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a cool little time. It was, in a way, not quite what I was expecting, because it's like a very exploration-light Metroidvania. Like, Ethan could play this and probably not be spiritually opposed to it.
How dare you? How dare you? I love Metroidvanias. I love the game not telling me what to do.
Because really,
He
it's just
loves
kind of like...
Guacamelee.
I did.
Yeah, because really, it's just kind of like you go to an area, essentially. There's all to get to the next area. There's this door that you have to like rip open, and to do that, you got to go spread your biomass elsewhere. And these little biomass caches are like 4 per area, and basically it's like you start in a center room, and there's like 4 paths. It's not that hard to get. You do get like the increasing abilities. Your monster gets bigger the more you play, and each like size, because there's like 3 tiers of size. You got like a small, medium, and large.
Big
and
boy.
each one of those has like their own set of abilities. Like small monster has this kind of like spider web kind of move for like pushing levers and webbing unfortunate science people. And then the big one has like this harpoon arm spam thing. So the reason is not what I was expecting it to be closer to like, I don't know, Hotline Miami or Katana Zero, in the way that this is going to drop you into a bunch of combat encounters to terrorize these people. I didn't think there would be this much. I didn't think there was going to be that much like separation between the two things, but it's not necessarily a complaint. It's just kind of like took me by surprise. The one mild complaint I have is that I feel like they have a story in this game that I don't feel like really knew what it wanted to be, because essentially there are these couple of flashback breaks that the moral of the story is the scientists scienced where they shouldn't have scienced, and now this monster wants to kill them. And that's all the further that gets it. Yeah, that's all the further that gets taken, which seems, and it's like, if you wanted to do that, fine, because it's the setup for literally every sci-fi horror thing ever.
Every sci-fi thing is, oh no, we went somewhere we shouldn't.
Yeah. So if you wanted to do, so it's not necessarily that that's Icarus. Present. That's the problem. It's the fact that that's all there is. So it's like, if you didn't want to have that, then don't make this weird, slow-paced walk around as the human discovering the monster thing for no reason, because you know what, I was just assuming that's what happened anyway in some form or fashion. It's like, yeah, you scientists messed around and now you're finding out.
This could have been an email.
Yeah, it's like, if you wanted to take that further somehow, then by all means they could have, and I would have been interested to see what happened, but the game kind of ended before any of that happened, really. So story gets like got in the way more than anything else. Didn't do one or the other. But overall, it was a nice experience. It's also only like a 4-hour game, maybe 6 if you take your time. Nice. It's a fun little game.
We love short games.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I don't know what
you good, Ethan?
No, I've just noticed. You see this? Like, I don't know what this is.
The cowlick.
It's not a cowlick though, because it's just my fringe.
Cowlicks go the other way, fringe. Kyle. That's like, cowlicks are like if his hair was doing that.
If it was doing this, like if it was going all stupid. Whereas this is just, I don't know what it's doing. It's obviously because there you go. That's how it usually sits. It's just, I don't know. It's because I'm not treating my hair right. It's fine. Just ignore me. Just ignore me, Carl. Just ignore me and talk about whatever the fuck Valkyrie Elysium versus a Valkyrie profile is, please. Please educate me.
So, this is another PS5 thing that I picked up. If y'all remember from our Game of the Year episode.
We did one of those?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a great episode. I highly recommend it.
You should listen to it. It's a good one.
Dude, you should. It was a lot of fun to make. I liked that one. I felt like I actually contributed things that this year. It was great.
Woo.
But anyways, one of my backlog games was this Valkyrie Elysium because I thought that it looked really neat. And so I played it. It was like a 10-ish hour game. And it's basically like a very light character action game. It's like Baby's Devil May Cry, but it's also like it's nowhere near as in depth, but it's still like as hard as Devil May Cry. This game is weird.
I hate it when they do that.
Yeah, it's a weird game where I enjoyed it while I was playing it, but thinking about it after the fact, I'm like,
you don't want to do it again.
I don't want to do it again, and everything about this game feels very first draft, from the gameplay to the non-existent story to just all the characters involved in it as well. Like, I don't know. I didn't dislike it while I was playing it, but I don't know. It's a weird one. And I'm really glad that it was only like 10 hours, because otherwise it would have been like Scarlet Nexus, where it just dragged on for too long after the fact.
How dare you.
So anyways, roping this into the second thing. So the Valkyrie series is something that was originally made by Enix, and then they got absorbed by Square, and then they made a bunch of other games.
Made by Vikings.
It's true, it was.
Where Enix stole the idea from.
I knew it.
God damn it.
And then God of War stole the Vikings too.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's true.
But anyways, also conveniently on the PS4 and 5 store, the original Valkyrie profile got put on there. It's like the PSP port, but with modern sensibilities. There's save states, rewinds. It's just a lot more convenient to play. So I decided to do my due diligence, and because I'm not afraid of old video games like Ethan is, I decided to go back and try out Valkyrie Profile and see.
That hurts. It was a platform I'm all in, but you know, like, come on.
There's light platforming in this game.
No, that doesn't count. That's not enough.
It's mostly an RPG, but there's light platforming.
Fuck it off then, bro.
Oh, it's not the Jack with the Child of Light thing again.
Oh God, no!
There's a part of me. There's a part of me that's so sad that it's like that episode's never going out. But I still want like it etched into like the HGO canon. The fucking like Child of Light is like a really great game. I haven't played it, but it looks good. Like, I want that like etched into the history book because it's like one of my favorite moments in like HGO history, and it's just like in the lost episode. It's sad.
Dude, you have the power to just clip that and post it to Twitter.
I do, but I don't know which hard drive it is on now, and I also don't remember what the file's called, so it's like I'd have to go into the depths. To be fair,
it's called Do Not Upload.
Yeah, probably. I'd also just have to go into the 2022 folder and just look for the one with Jack in it and go, oh, it's that one that didn't happen. There you go, found it.
The classic.
But no, so did you enjoy Valkyrie Profile?
So I'm not done with it remotely. Dude, it's a PS1 JRPG. Those aren't the things you can finish in a day.
This one is not 10 hours.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This one requires more brain power. But yes, I'm enjoying Profile a lot. The game's very depressing because the whole game is about you recruiting dead people to fight in Ragnarok.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Build up Odin's army. So you're just seeing all these people.
That's what Valkyries are.
Yeah. So you're just seeing all these people like live their lives and then die and join the Valkyrie cause. And it's like, damn. This is a very, very upsetting video game, but I'm having fun with it. And also I can understand why now with like this perspective, I can understand why a lot of the Valkyrie fans who like what Profile is would not like Elysium.
I think it's kind of a problem with Square Enix at the moment, for better or worse, where they've kind of got this action RPG kind of itch where everything has to fucking play the same. And I feel like it is kind of ruining. Like, don't get me wrong, I like that style. I don't like what Square Enix used to make. So now that everything kind of plays a bit like Kingdom Hearts, I'm like, yo, fucking mash the button. Let's go. I can do this. But it does mean that like everything's kind of starting to lose its identity. I mean, like Kingdom Hearts, fine, that's Kingdom Hearts, right? Final Fantasy VII Remake, I feel like it was a good twist. Now that mainline Final Fantasy is also kind of going with an action RPG kind of thing, I'm like, okay, everything's starting to blend together. And now you go to like these other franchises that Square also has, and they're like, yo, do you know what this needs?
The only reason Octopath is around is so that they can just throw the people who are upset by this a bone every now and then.
Oh yeah, that's 100%.
And those people appreciate it.
Yeah, and same with like the pixel remasters for Final Fantasy 1 through 6, right? They're definitely doing that because they're like, 16 is not going to cater to traditional Final Fantasy fans who really want that. So here you go. Here's the ones you like. And I think it's fine. And I also think it's fine for a franchise to evolve and cater to different like things as it goes through its kind of life cycle. Because I feel like the last thing you want is it to be stagnant. I feel like when Zelda comes out every so often, you're like, okay, what's new? We don't want the same shit over and over again, as much as some Zelda fans would like the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
Or, with Persona. When Persona 6 eventually shows its face, maybe this year, maybe in 2027, I feel like if all we see is a 4K Persona 5, which was a 1080p Persona 4, which was like, you know, the sequel to a PS2, the same engine as Persona 3.
Which was built off of PS3 or P3, yeah.
I feel like if we don't see, if we just, like, yeah, it'll be good and we'll all play it and we'll probably have a good time, and Persona 5 fans will finally have something that they can bitch about that isn't as good as the old ones. I feel like there'll be a bit of disappointment there. But it's like Square Enix, I think, has the opposite thing where, franchises are kind of going in new directions, but they're all going in the same direction, and it's an action fucking RPG which has hack and slash elements. And I'm like, god damn, bro. Like, even like Babylon's Fall and shit, you just like everything. Like, it's like, yeah, bring Platinum in, but then it's like, you're already going for what Platinum makes. Why are you bringing them in to make a game that's also like that? It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like the same thing as the Sony first party problem.
Oh yeah, they're all first-person employers. And then you hear whispers of, oh, everyone's like, come on, Naughty Dog, make something new. And then you just hear like the words, Last of Us Part 3, and everyone goes, oh no, don't do it.
Of all the studios I would expect to break the mold, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be Naughty Dog. I would expect it from anyone else first.
But
honestly.
The thing is they used to break the mold.
Well, yeah,
they used to.
They don't anymore.
And then they
stopped
Uncharted.
when they made Uncharted. Yeah.
Right. I feel like you've got to give them at least a tiny bit of credit for The Last of Us, because The Last of Us was at least like, everyone's
it
like...
added survival elements.
You know, because every YouTube essay fucking analyst of video games will always say when they bring up Uncharted, cognitive dissonance, guys. I mean, it's an action romp, but he's shooting thousands of people, and then they actually went, okay, no, fuck you. Sorry, it's ludonarrative dissonance. Should get the term right.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not a YouTube essay person. I'm sorry, I didn't get the term right. But, you know, it's like, people are talking about that, and so they were like, okay, fuck your ludonarrative dissonance. Joel's an arsehole, and he has killed hundreds of people, and he will kill more. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, that story
and then
feels
you people are gonna be really offended when the sequel is even more depressing.
Yeah, and it's like, that world feels grounded, where I feel like they did kind of make a step, because, you know, when you look at PS3 Sony, you are looking at those kind of action kind of blockbusters where it's like, Resistance and stuff like that, where you're like, who gives a shit, right? Where it was like, no, real story time with actual characters, and they're killing fuckers because they're terrible people. Even then, I mean, it's still been a decade since then. Happy 10th anniversary year for The Last of Us.
Oh my god.
It's been a decade, but up until that point, Hunter, I did used to expect something new from Naughty Dog, where I'm like, oh, this is different, that no one's really... Now it's just, you know, I love Uncharted 4, and I love Last of Us Part 2, but they are just kind of off the pipeline, shove them out. There you go. More of the same. Bob's your uncle. And I feel like that's what the video game industry is now. I mean, when you look at Microsoft and you're like, oh god, they've got like 6 million Skyrims coming out. You've got Elder Scrolls 6 and Avowed, same fucking game. You've got Outer Worlds and Fallout. These are two different IPs that are the exact fucking same. You know, you've got all this stuff where it's like everything's just more of the same. And I'm like,
yeah.
God.
I'm still waiting for the wave of Elden Ring clones to get announced.
You see, I think it will happen, but I don't, like, we expected that from Breath of the Wild, and we're still waiting. There's been the odd one or two, right? Like
I don't know, everyone who tried to copy Breath of the Wild, I feel like didn't do it, like, good enough to make me actually associate it with Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
No,
it's like Immortals Phoenix Rising. Everything I see about that, I'm like, oh, you're still just a Ubisoft game.
Yeah, and it's the thing about Immortals is better than most Ubisoft games. I'll give them that, and it's fun enough. But it is very much just Ubisoft's done Breath of the Wild, and it's like,
yeah, which is fundamentally in conflict with what Breath of the Wild is.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. I just kind of wish that people would take a step out of their comfort zone, which is why I'm like, you know. Mm-hmm. That's what I wish Square would do. Was it's like, and it's kind of sad because, you know,
and that's what they used to do.
But that's what you see in their current list is, you know, look at it: Forspoken, action RPG. For Final Fantasy 16, action RPG. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, action RPG. The one after that is probably Kingdom Hearts 4, fucking action RPG. And it's like,
yeah,
when's the next thing that isn't just... Because they make that and nostalgia bait. And the nostalgia bait is good. It's good shit, because it's like Octopath and, you know, Triangle Strategy and stuff that people like. And it's like, that's good. but also that's the only other category that you're making, other than shit. Like sometimes they'll pump out some shit.
Yeah, other than the shotgun of nonsense.
I forgot about the shit
Strangers
category.
of Paradise.
Various day life.
3 categories: action RPG, nostalgia bait, and shit. Can't forget about good old Babylon's Fall, Chocobo GP, and fucking Balan Wonderworld.
Balan Wonderworld.
The trifecta of garbage. Like, there you go.
Oh man.
But there you go. Anyway, Valkyrie Profile, everybody. That's what's good. It's a PS1 game. You should play it. Valkyrie Elysium. That's a new game. It had mixed reviews. You might want to pick it up if it's on sale.
There's a demo. Try the demo.
And then maybe pick it up on sale.
Or when it goes free, inevitably.
That's 100% a PS Extra game coming soon.
Yeah.
It'll also be a bottom of the list PS Extra game where it's like 6th or 7th on the list, and you're like, oh, okay. You know, wow, that's crazy.
I mean, if they go alphabetically, then yeah, it will be at the bottom.
V.
Well, no, usually they put the big gun at the top, right? They're like, oh, look, Yakuza Collection is coming to PS Extra this month. And then they're like, okay, and we've also got fucking...
And here's some other stuff.
Paw Patrol on a roll and shit like that. They chuck the garbage at the bottom. Anyway, take us home, Hunter. Take us home. What's the final game you played over Christmas holiday break?
So I started playing Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Which one's that again? Which one is it? PS1, PS2,
came out in
PS3?
2010.
I thought it was a PS3. I thought, should have.
Yeah, Lords of Shadow and Lords of Shadow 2 were like the last 2 main line Castlevania games before Konami killed it.
Yeah.
Thanks,
so
Lords
Konami.
of Shadow.
Don't worry, they made a Netflix show.
Yeah, and the Netflix show was fantastic, and I can't believe they haven't it took until Dead Cells for me to see, whatever.
I still don't know how they haven't made a new one.
I don't understand.
Even in the nostalgia bait way, I was 100% expecting by now either like a collection or them doing kind of like a Dread where they go back and they like take the old formula.
I mean, they've had a couple of collections here and there, but I was expecting like, I don't know, a new one, even if it was just Symphony of the Night again.
Or doing a pick, like, doing like a pixel art but a new game, like just something like surprise. If they make a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game every 3 years, why the fuck isn't there a Castlevania? Like, what the fuck?
Oh man,
Symphony of the Night in HD 2D.
The funny thing about the Lords of Shadow is Mercury's Steam, which I'm pretty sure I knew this before, but forgot about it in between the time that I learned and when I started this game, made Lords of Shadow, and oh my god, they got so much better between then and Metroid Dread. I'm very grateful for that. Castlevania Lords of Shadow. 2010 is a period of time that I forget was rife with like God of War copycats. That was like what the PS3 era was bro shooters and God of War copycats. Because
what year was 2010? Was 2010? That was Red Dead's year, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't
Red Dead came
Skyrim's
out in
year.
2010.
No, that was 2011. 11,
came
11, Kyle. Iconic day.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. I said it wasn't Skyrim's year.
Oh, I thought you said it was. I'm like, no.
No.
Yeah, it was 2010.
Yeah, like
Red
God
Dead was
of War 3
2010.
came out in 2010, and
Really?
like so did this game, and so did Dante's Inferno. I don't know when Darksiders came out, but that's also in like this category of games that came out that are really similar to God of War. But Lords of Shadow,
January 5th, 2010. was Darksiders.
If you really liked games that are similar to God of War, like the old games, you were eating good in 2010, apparently. Lords of Shadow is not as good as those, and I would not like say that this is the one to go try if you want to get into Castlevania. Because it's okay. Like I don't hate it, but also it's like there's so many times where I'm like, it's one of those games that see him where it's like goofing up makes you appreciate the things that do it right. Like even things as simple as like the traversing with the whip, like there are like the shiny points where you can like swing around and stuff, and it's like that feels. I have to clarify that I started playing this with my brother, and we used the streaming service thing, not the we didn't have a PS3 copy of this game. So I'm willing to believe that some of this was the result of it just eating inputs, because sometimes he would fall and miss the thing, and then it would reload us and he would just automatically jump and make it. So I'm pretty sure some stuff like that was the result of it like eating the inputs and like, I don't know, actually using it later. But the combat is, I don't know, not super interesting. Like, it functions.
That's always a good one.
Well.
That's always a good one.
Yeah.
It functions.
It's serviceable.
It's like, you know, when...
It functions, but it's not like super interesting. Like, there was this one point while I was playing, and it was my brother and I were just talking to each other, and I was just kind of doing this, and I was only like half-heartedly attempting this combat encounter, and I guess I was just doing the same one for 10 minutes. I kept dying because I wasn't really, my heart wasn't in it. And he's like, you want me to take the control? He's like, you want me to take the controller? You've been here for a while. Like, let me at least try to actually fight these things before I pass it off. And then, like, lo and behold, I got past it. I just wasn't like, it doesn't command my attention in any sort of way, even while I have my hands on the sticks, you know? It's got some interesting ideas as far as like the stuff there are things that it kind of goes for to differentiate itself in the gameplay a little bit, but that stuff is kind of clunky. Like, there are these two separate magic meters that you get, and it's like one's light magic, and hitting things while you have that activated will give you health back, and then they've got like shadow magic, which doubles your damage. And there's like, inconspicuously, there's no drawback, it just doubles your damage, and I guess you don't get healed is the drawback there. And they go off of like separate meters, and the way that you charge these meters is enemies, when you kill them, will drop like these yellow orbs that you have to siphon into your guy's like gauntlet, like it's a Onimusha or something. And the way you pick which meter gets charged is like you'd either choose L3 or R3, and I feel like that's super clunky because you just have to come to a stop. I feel like if you would have just assigned certain enemies to drop like blue or red orbs to fill up the respective meters, that would have been better. If you could just walk over them and, you know, fills up your magic. Because or God of War, the old ones, did this thing where killing certain enemies in a specific way would yield a specific result. Like, if you killed the Minotaur with the QuickTime event finisher, you would always get a health. Mm-hmm. You would always get like a health orb. I feel like they could have done something like that to... It either could have been like killing things while the light magic is active. If you want to encourage people to switch it up, will yield like the dark magic orbs, and vice versa. Or it could be like killing things with the QuickTime event button will yield the dark, or something like that. Yeah. To make it flow a little better, I think would have helped.
Just give the player some reason to pay attention.
Yeah, because like when my brother would play, when it was his turn, oftentimes he would just, because it was the most effective thing to do a lot of the time, would just be like yoink the guy over and do the QuickTime event to rip off its arms or whatever, just automatically. Like, all the smaller guys gets rid of the mobs that way, and then you got your meter juiced for the bigger thing. And then like, yeah. And then there are also like, some of the bosses are fine, like those are pretty solid as far as like the ones that are actually your size or just a little bit bigger than Mr. Gabriel are fine. They've got also, I did not vibe with their Diet Shadow of the Colossus bosses, where they're gigantic, and it's literally, you have to climb them and stab the runes like in Shadow of the Colossus, except the way you hold on is literally just push R2 when it says hold down R2.
Nice.
In big bolded letters on the screen when they start shaking. And I'm like, well, there's no tension here, and half the time it doesn't work. The second one of these we did, it took it the way that you trigger it to like kneel so you can go jump on it. It has to go from raining these rocks on you to like specifically grabbing one and throwing it at you, and it took like 10 minutes for that to happen. So like, that was also kind of annoying, you know. another thing that is an issue with this game is like, according to the internet, like 18 hours.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's way too long for one of these games. Like, I love Devil May Cry, and if DMC6 was 18 hours, I better like that one more than the first game. But like, it's probably because there's like a focus on the story here, but I don't think any of it's very good. Like, I kind of check out. Gabriel isn't super interesting. None of his friends are. There was one character that was kind of likable, and then they disappeared from the story after 3 chapters, so it's like, none of that's super great.
There you go.
Also, I don't know. It's like, I guess the last thing is, aside from the fact that the main character is like walking around with a whip, it doesn't feel distinctly Castlevania. I feel like I'm playing any kind of generic.
Do you know what's really
fantasy.
funny? I just want to bring this up. Is obviously I've just been listening to you talk about it. I've been looking up gameplay and stuff like that. I've just been having like a peruse of it, and it's genuinely it's like sounded so generic that when you just said Castlevania, I'm like, oh yeah, right, this is a Castlevania game. Like it's like
yeah, that's what I'm getting at here. Yeah, like that's what I'm getting at here. Is like, it doesn't feel. There's nothing about it.
This could be anything.
Yeah, it could.
It could be anything.
The brand on
it.
it.
Yeah, basically, because like Castlevania, very dark and gothic kind of stuff, and this is just kind of like mildly grim fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like there are allegedly vampires and stuff, but it's nothing like cool. Like, so
it is what it is.
If you're curious about it, it's like, it's not horrible, but also don't go out of your way to play it, you know? Like,
I feel like the people who were
exactly
curious ones played it long ago.
It's probably true.
I'm sure that's not the first step that someone's like, oh, you know what? I love that Netflix show. Which one should I play? Oh, you know what?
A weird PS3 game?
I think I'll start with the PS3 ones. That sounds good. They're the most recent ones, so they must be the best. Let's just play them.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Lords of Shadow 2 took like some of that stuff in their ideas and improved it. Maybe the separate magic meters did what I said that they should. I don't know. I'll probably finish.
There's only one way
game
to
at some
find
stage.
out.
I mean, I might
come back next month to find out.
This is the game that we've just designated that my brother and I are gonna play when we hang out, and it's like,
oh god,
sure. I'm not going to get too bent out of shape about what we're doing in that regard. Like,
no,
I don't really care.
I like it. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. You have to keep us updated if you do play the second one. Is it shit? Is it not?
Yeah. I'll let you know.
I'll
let you know how I'm feeling when I get to the end of this one. If my opinion has changed at all, I guess. Or if it's like if I get to the end of it, I'm like, no, it's like real bad. Do not play it. I'll let you know. If it's just the same, like it's okay, I guess. Don't rush to it. Then I'll just never mention it.
There you go. And with that, we're done. The tales from the backlog are over. That is it. That is what we've done over our holiday period. What have you guys played? What did you play? Did you play anything? Did you go outside? Did you have a life? That sounds like more fun. Let us know. Get in contact the regular ways, either in the comments or shoot us an email if you like the old emails. No, I'm not doing the links on screen yet, Hunter. Not doing that yet. Getting eager. Now I'm going to go on for a 5-minute tangent. That's your punishment. No, I don't have the energy in me anymore. I feel like I mishandled the energy.
When you say this, I'm just gonna
spam
my little hand. I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna hit for the next 5 minutes.
Okay, links on screen right now. While I talk about, I feel like I mismanaged my energy levels this episode. I feel like I went all in on the first 40 minutes, and then all of a sudden it's like
too big, too soon.
Battery drained. It's now 4:20 as we're recording, so it's like you sleepy now.
I mean, to be fair, having the energy for the part where you're doing more of the talking is probably the better thing.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is. But no, we hope you have enjoyed. We were talking about this off the show. It's quite a busy January. We have stuff to be talking about. So, the stuff to
It hasn't come out yet.
Yeah. We've got Forspoken coming out. We've got the Persona 3 and 4 ports. which I'm not decided if I'm going to buy on PlayStation yet. I'll just wait for a sale. I'm not going to play it, but I do have them on Game Pass. Good old Game Pass, bringing it in.
Good
So I'll
old
at least be
Game
able to
Pass.
test those versions. We've got Dead Space as well. Is Dead Space January?
Yes.
Yeah, Dead Space.
Yes.
Yeah, Dead
and
Space
Fire
same
Emblem.
week as Forspoken.
We've got so much. We've got plenty of stuff to come up, so you can always look forward to that. Will there be reviews? Maybe. Did even forget to put up the review that was supposed to go up last Friday? Yes. So will you get one this Friday? Probably. We'll see.
Hopefully.
So.
Yeah, Hunter's going to be very angry with me if I don't. But we'll see. We'll see. But how will you know? You will know by following us on Twitter. That's how you do it at Hot Gamers Only. Or subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/Hot Gamers Only. You get it direct there. Or if you don't want to look at our stupid faces, that's cool. Head to your favourite podcast service, search for Hot Gamers Only, or head to the link tree in the description. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. We're on it. Go over there, give us a follow, give us a podcast rating that's pretty positive. Say, wow, very cool. I loved it when they talked about Castlevania on the PS3 for 15 whole minutes. Thank you. We're like, you're
Did I
very
really
welcome.
talk about that for 15 minutes?
Yes, we did.
God. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and you know what? If the average watch time goes down, I'll know why. I'll be like, yo, you know what? They just couldn't
I feel like
handle
most of
Castlevania.
I feel like the average watch time usually doesn't make it that far in for that to be the deciding factor.
True. You know, I like to. The thing is, these videos are that long that it's like, hey, if our average watch time is like a fifth of the podcast, that's pretty impressive because that means that all the people that we scared off with the too much energy at the start that I have, it's like it's counterbalanced with the people that actually stayed. So that's still good. That's when it's good. Podcasts are weird. Podcasts are a weird thing because it's like you want. Some people like really short podcasts, some people like really long podcasts. The YouTube algorithm don't know what to fucking do with us because like, hey, they're staying on for 30 minutes, but also they won't shut the fuck up about Castlevania. So is this a good or a bad thing? Like, what are we doing here? They stayed for a long time, but it's a third of the talk. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. Like, it's just a fun game. It's a fun game, but hey, none of those games are out next week, are they? No, we've got another week of filler.
That's the problem.
That's fun.
There's nothing that we got nothing to do for a week.
It's all in the second half of the month.
That screams.
Who wants to do a 3x3?
Who wants to do a 3x3? Bringing it back. A 3x3 and 23. Am I right, guys? That's the spirit.
Yeah, that's what you can name it.
3x3 is plenty 3.
To celebrate 2023, we're going to do 23 3x3 episodes this year, guys.
Oh,
so
baby.
Every 2 weeks for a brand new 3x3.
Dude, and then by the
I
end
can't wait till we have to start doing extra episodes to meet that quota.
I was gonna say by the end of the year we can start doing 3x3s on the 3x3s.
Yeah.
What were your guys' favorite 3x3 episodes?
Yeah, we did a 3x3 RPG episode on quite literally every console, so now we're going to do a 3x3 of the RPG 3x3s, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that follow button. Thank you very much.
We've already done an RPG 3x3 though.
Yeah, we got to do them console specific next. We've got so many to go.
Goody.
I can't wait to hear about everybody's favorite Neo
Could I
Geo
do that?
RPGs, guys. Can't wait. It's going to be
I
great.
can't wait for everyone's favorite Xbox RPG.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, Fable.
You win.
By default.
Wow. But anyway, that's enough of that. We'll be back. Blah, blah, blah. I'm losing the word. I'm losing my speech. Oh no, I'm too tired. We'll be back, same time, same place next week for more. But until then, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, we hope you have an awesome week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.